Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Diamond Network Show, Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Time. And this is Elizabeth's Monday night show. And this is Mare covering for Elizabeth. So happy to be with everyone tonight. And I just wanted to welcome you. It's July 11th, 2016. And I want to let you know the blog is diamonds with an S forever 31.blogspot.com, and the telephone number to call in if you wanted to listen to the recording is 641-715-3813. And the PIN number is 883267#. And the reference number for this evening's recording is 460#. So we're just so happy that everyone is here this evening. It is July 11th, 2016, and this evening we're going to do the prayer and the Law of One, the opening prayer. We will have the candy shop time, and Candy will be on to give us current events and all kinds of exciting things about her travels. And then Cynthia will come on, and possibly Marianne. And we will do a little galactalizing, and we will do some teachings of sacred sexuality and the divine union with oneself and with the divine polarity. And we will touch on the angels of the full moon and the current astrology, and end with a meditation. So we are so happy everyone is here. And we'd like to just start by doing the Law of One. Everyone is muted, but you can unmute yourself by pushing *6. And I'm just going to call in. So I will call in the living flame of divine love to be with us now. And I call in universal consciousness to be with us now, and our own divine Christ itself. And we're asking for the highest good for every man, woman, and child, and every life form on the planet. All plants, animals, birds, sea creatures, all the beings within the earth, all the minerals of the earth, all the trees, all the divine beings, all the magical beings, just all the beings known and unknown, seen and unseen, and understood and not understood. We're just giving thanks for all life in this moment, because we are all one.
We are all one.
When one is harmed, all are harmed.
When one is harmed, all are harmed.
Therefore, in the name of who I am,
Therefore, in the name of who I am,
and I am one with all there is.
And I am one with all there is.
I ask that the highest good
the highest good
of all happen. And I give thanks that this is done.
And I give thanks that this is done.
So be it, and so it is.
So be it, and so it is.
Wonderful. And we're just wanting to remind everyone that these are very intense times that we're going through. This is a historic change in the ages and in our evolution. And so we want to be very forgiving of ourselves and one another. And remember the prayer last week, the Ho'oponopono, which is the Hawaiian prayer that says, "Dear life, please forgive me," or you say, "Dear self, dear mother, please forgive me for any harm I have caused you. Thank you, and I love you." And that's the prayer. So it's very simple and can be done with the Law of One. So anyway, we are ready now for Candy, and we're so excited to hear about what's going on.
Yes, Mary, thank you for all of that. And it's so powerful and wonderful to be with my girlfriends here. And here I am broadcasting the Candy Jar Treats are in the East Village in Manhattan, New York this evening. And wow, have I got a lot to share with you folks. And I might do a little bit of repeating. I'm not sure from Wednesday night show. It was a fabulous show, and I'll be on again this coming Wednesday. But Wednesday I had just last week I visited Washington D.C. From my home base in the Missouri Ozarks, and I went into the Senate Gallery, and I set my intentions, and I prayed, and I put a blessing on the whole building and all the senators and their staff. And then I went through all the terrible security things, and you have to give up your phone and even your car keys. And I went into the House, and I heard Bernie speak, but there was very few in the audience, and it was mostly empty hall. But all of the congressmen were in the House because they were having important votes to finance our government and everything. And so I was doing that again to try to release all the negativity from these men and women and really bless them and cleanse out the hall. And friends, I got attacked psychically, something awful. It was awful. And so then I had to work at doing more protection for myself. And in about 10 or 15 minutes, I had some relief from the pushback and the attack. Well, then today I'm in New York City. And I've been having a great trip, making connections with friends and family, and everything is going very smoothly. Except I was shocked about the $80 worth of tolls to drive into New York City. But today I went to the World Trade Center, Freedom Tower Memorial. Very, very sad cemetery. Very, very. People were in tears. People were in shock. I felt uncomfortable that so many parents brought their children to such a sad, negative energy kind of place. And so they have these two pools, waterfalls, the black in the north and the south, in the area of the World Trade Center, and where those 3,000 people died. And I was very concerned about the design of it. It was a big black hole with a second black hole going down. And I was concerned that this was just a terrible portal. So I was setting my intentions and praying that if this portal allowed negativity to come in to America, that it be closed. If there was anything good coming from this portal, okay. But if it was bad, let's get it closed. And I called in all of my Ra tribe to help me with that. And it was really, I mean, people saw me there doing my cleansing ritual, and they were very respectful. But wow, when I finished, I was under terrible attack, and it was so painful, and I asked Simeon to come. I asked everybody I could think of to come and help me. Again, it was so much worse than what happened in Washington, D.C. And finally, after an hour of struggling with this, I sent our dear friend Christopher Stephen Jacobs a text message for him to come in and see if there was anything he could do to help me. And he did not. And immediately, after I sent the text message addressed to Chris, praise be, I was healed and protected, and the pain went away. Well, Chris didn't see my text message on the physical plane for almost an hour. And he texted me. He was very concerned, and, what was going on and everything. And I said, it's okay now, Chris, because just by sending you the message, I got enough attention of your guys to help. And so I just want tonight for all of us, to take a deep breath and just visualize New York and just visualize that memorial, those black tools that they have built to be closed off as far as any negative portal, and that there be a blessing. I was talking today about a blessing for all the victims wherever they are now, all their families, all of the rescue people, everybody who's been touched by this experience of visiting the World Trade Center. So that was my experience. I wanted to share with you, and maybe during the next week you can all be sending even more light to New York City. It obviously needs it. Now, the Creator was blessing me on this trip. We've had really nice weather, and the breezes, it has been great. There's been a lot of rain in the evenings in New York and cool things down. So that's been great. The stock market is up today. And I was going to lead off, the greatest thing that the news is out today, that of all things, Britain will have, yes, a female Prime Minister as of this coming Wednesday. So we need to send her a lot of light and have some real good positive goddess energy coming in to London. And we can just see, it's just so exciting to be in New York, and you hear all these languages, you see all the people from Europe and Asia, China, and Africa, all what a mixture of people that are among the tourists and among those that live here in this great city of New York. So, folks, yeah. I have not had a chance with all of this to listen to the Benjamin Fulford report. If Cynthia or someone else can share that information, I will have my show Wednesday, and I've got a really great speaker lined up. And last Wednesday, I do listen to that. It was a really special show with these two Canadians from Toronto, and they were speaking back and forth in the Arcturian language, and it was just so beautiful to listen to this. And then they translated it, and we had this really advanced tall being from Arcturus to visit the Candy Shop show, and I've asked for them to come back in the week after this. So that will, I hope folks are following the Mark Sorensen shows on Wednesday nights, and he's done 4, and we'll be looking for the 5th one quite soon. Remember, the Galactic taught him since 2007, and then a few weeks ago said it's time to share what you've been learning and share it on the Candy Shop show. So putting the lid back on and turning it over to you ladies.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Candy, for sharing all of this wonderful information and your exciting travels and all the blessings. And thank you for the beautiful sacred ceremony that you did when you just felt the need to do it. And the way you did it and shared it with us was so beautiful. Thank you on behalf of everyone. And your beautiful sharing of the beautiful ceremony really inspired me to read the angels for today. And this, correct me if I'm wrong, Cynthia, I believe this is 20 degrees Cancer. And it's the angels Kibilgili or Kibilgili. And it's Kibigili, the angels of evocation, because we really are evoking all the time, and we can learn to do this, to ask them. So we ask the angels of evocation to please teach us how to do this. Beloved, understand the admonition of many sacred scriptures to ask for divine assistance. Ask and you shall receive. We teach creating true blessing through faith and the power of evocation. In times of danger, we help people remember to ask for help instead of reacting in fear. We come to their aid. We inspire faith that removes all obstacles. We remind them to be in charge of their will and feelings and the laws of cause and effect. Instead of fear, awe and the splendor and majesty of God flows through the feeling nature, and grace is attracted into all situations. So as I ponder this, it's like a polarity where on one end is the fear and on the other end is the splendor and majesty, and you can just follow one end to the other. As you sow, so shall you reap. Even if a person is surrounded by fear or malice of others, the virtues protect his or her awareness and feelings and keep all thoughts centered on omnipotent will that creates and protects all of creation. We are powerful and protect you when you ask. As you journey in consciousness through the many mansions of the created universe, do not underestimate the powers of the qualities we display. When you evoke help from the heavenly hosts, it is one part of the omnipresent divine being of the unified field accessing another part. This is analogous to the interrelatedness of different parts of the human body working together as a whole. Let me fight your battles for you. Many times is it spoken in the Bible and the Quran, in many holy books, that God wishes for humankind to rely on divine consciousness and the heavenly host for protection and sustenance. Remember the words of Hazrat Inyat Khan. The more you depend on God, the more dependable God becomes. This pipeline to deity becomes more serviceable with use. And I'm asking angels Kibilgili to please help us all have this faith. By asking for assistance from the heavenly host, the power of the unified field is accessed through their consciousness. The power of the unified field of divine being, accessed through evocation, is omnipotent. Jesus taught his disciples that I of myself can do nothing. It is the Father within that doeth the works. He also said, I and the Father are one, and all that I do, you shall do, and more. Within mind and feelings are powers to avail aid, so that providence interacts through the heavenly hosts on all levels of being, will, thought, feelings, and senses to protect all that is divine birthright of children of light and love. So we introduce ourselves to you this day. We are the Orders of the Angels of Protection. We are known as the Angels of Evocation, the Angels of Kibigili. Call on us now and let us help you this day and always. And their name is spelled Kibigili. And with that, I would love to welcome Cynthia.
Hi. Yeah, the letters of the names represent divine virtues, divine qualities. The K is a silvery blue color. It represents your left ear. Remember in the Bible where it says man is made in the image and likeness of God? That is literally true, and it is metaphysically true. Every part of our body is sacred. And in the teachings on sexuality, every part of the body is seen as very important for the alchemy of sacred sex to happen. Now, every effort has been made, as we all know, to keep that alchemy from happening. From chemical poisoning in our water and food and skies, to metaphysical poisoning in the media, our educational systems. Every effort has been made to harness our powers, but to harness them for purposes that are based on inaccurate interpretations of ancient texts. The more I study the Babylonian mysteries and the occult practices of the dark, the more I can see how ancient texts were just slightly misinterpreted. And they got passed on for generation after generation after generation. And I can see clearly how these desperate criminals from the Draco system came here hoping to use our powers to protect themselves. And what we're seeing now in the media, it's like an avalanche. If you know anything about avalanches, it starts off as just a few little heavy bits of snow that are up high, that are very heavy, and they start to fall down, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, you've got this whole huge avalanche that can bury a city. So this avalanche is beginning. But what we're finding out is that when you disentangle the misinterpretations, that the absolute only way that these criminals can survive is not only to not create harm, but to create good. Now, they have considerable skills. They have amazing skills of focus and concentration and very powerful intent. They have some very good qualities. And when these qualities are focused on creating goodness as a method of survival, they will finally not only save themselves, but save these, there's different words in English, demiurges or demigods or entities that they worship. And the reason I'm saying this is because whether you are a plant or an animal or some kind of a energy being, whether it's negative or positive, angel or demon, or whatever terminology you want to use, we're all hooked up together, just like our bodies are hooked up together. We're made in the image and likeness of God, and God is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. And if we're made in the image and likeness of God, now either we can take it literally or not, but I'm finding out that that's literally true. Just like an atom looks like a solar system, they're called fractals. And it's a repeating pattern from infinitely small to infinitely large. And we are fractals of the one being. And we are one with the one being, and we have access to all the powers of God. We have access to all the wisdom of God. We have access to all the love of God, and we have access to all the presence of God. And the presence of God is everywhere in everything. So we have access to all this. Now think about it a moment. Why else would they want to enslave us but to access these powers? But these are my words, these are my interpretations. I'm trying to explain a lot of stuff simply and quickly so we can get on with the sexuality thing. But I'm having to set the context. They wanted to access our powers to protect themselves. And because they had very great truths and very great ancient teachings, but they were slightly skewed in their interpretation, they were still operating from I and thou. They were still operating from polarity. Us and them, win or lose. And there's a place for polarity. There's a purpose for polarity. But the ultimate truth is the one, not the two. The two comes from the one. And the one trumps the two. And that's why they're losing. They're losing so they can win. Their ultimate goal of winning was to survive and to glorify whatever deities, real or imagined, that they were worshiping. Okay? So the only way they can survive and the only way they can glorify whatever deities that they were worshiping is with the one. And the one is the law of one that we say every single call. In other words, it is a unified field. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. And therefore, they are causing harm trying to help themselves or trying to help a deity. But that's coming from the two. And when you walk through the portal of the two into the one, you realize that harm done to anything, whether it's yourself or whether it's another, affects the entire creation. And help done to anything, whether you help yourself, whether you help another, helps the entire creation. And this is amazing. And right now, we're dealing with the two becoming the one. And this two becoming the one will save everyone. It's analogous to, say you have cancer, or your mother has cancer, or your neighbor has cancer, or your dog has cancer. I mean, something has cancer that matters to you. You can cut the tumors out. You can radiate it. You can do all these things. But if you could take the cancerous cells, and this has been proven to be possible in the lab, and turn them back into normal cells, normal healthy cells, so you're not cutting anything out, you're not radiating it, you're just taking something that is destroying its own self. Because when those cancer cells multiply enough, they kill their host and they die too. So you're transforming and transmuting the cancer cells back into healthy cells. Then it's not a win-lose proposition. It's a win-win proposition. Even the cancer cells are blessed. So to go from the 2 to the 1, we go from war to peace. To go from the 2 to the 1, we go from polarity to unity. Now, the polarity will still exist, and this gets us into the sexual talk tonight. But it exists based on the 1. And any child or offspring of that polarity will be based on the 1 as well. In other words, instead of building your family, your relationship, your offspring on shifting sands of polarity, you're building it on the rock of divinity itself. And the alchemy of sacred sexuality, you could write books and books on it, and books have been written. But I'm just going to cover the overall, table of contents tonight. Because our educational systems for generations and our religious systems and our political systems, everything we've been taught, everything we know, has been perverted by very, very powerful magicians and the servants of those magicians and very, very powerful aliens. I mean, think about how powerful a cancer is. It kills a lot of people. We're talking really amazing forces here. We haven't been shown, not in the media, we haven't been shown with our own parents. No one's ever shown us what true sacred sexuality is, how you do it, and what it looks like. However, that having been said, it's a hypnosis and a mind control that actually is very, very limited. Because built into our DNA, into our very essence, is the knowledge of sacred sexuality. Sacred sexuality with another human being is probably what's on everybody's mind tonight. And definitely we're going to spend most of our time there. But before we do that, I want to say that our relationship with everything in creation, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental or spiritual, whether it's human or alien or animal or plant or insect or mineral or the dark matter of the universe, is a sexual relationship. I guarantee you. Why? Because we are one with it. Whatever it is, we are one being. Every single thing that we can perceive and relate to is another part of ourself when we are coming from the consciousness of the one being. And you may think, oh my goodness, will I ever be that enlightened? Well, I will guarantee you that every night you go into this enlightened state. It's called deep, dreamless sleep. And if you didn't do it, you'd probably be dead within about 2 weeks, according to the sleep studies they did for decades, where they would wake people up when they reached the deep delta brainwave state in their dreaming. And they found out that within 10 days, these people started to die. Because it's in the deep delta, deep dreamless sleep stage every night that our bodies heal. And we can wake up in the morning and be refreshed to do another day. You go to bed tired, wiped, exhausted, and yet you wake up refreshed. How is that? It happens in the deep dreamless state. And when you get these yogis and enlightened people and you hook them up to the brainwave machines in their state of samadhi and bliss and enlightenment, they're producing the deep delta brainwave state that we're all doing every single night. So you're already enlightened, or you wouldn't be alive. So it's not something in the future. It's something we already are. We already are sons and daughters of God, believe me. We're not going to become it. We are it, or we wouldn't be alive. And what we're doing right now is removing really curses and hexes, brain, demonic possession, insanity, cognitive dissonance. The definition of cognitive dissonance is when what is right appears wrong and what's wrong appears right. And pretty much that's a definition of evil, which is, if you look at the word evil, E-V-I-L, it's live backwards. In other words, when you look at things backwards, we want to live and we want to have life more fully. But when you look at it backwards, it becomes evil. And when you put things backwards, when right becomes wrong and wrong becomes right, you get death. You don't get life. You don't get live. You get die. And sacred sexuality does a number of things. And we all already know what it is. It's just that on a conscious level, we're under hypnosis. We're under mind control. And our parents have been, and their parents before them, and their parents before them. And the exciting thing, and by the way, I did read the Ben Fulford today. And my previous analogy of an avalanche is pretty accurate. Things are happening really faster and faster and faster. And I think you can read the full report at NESARAnews. I think it's NESARA. Oh, I don't know that website. There's several websites that have it up. It'll come out for the public on Thursday. The general public can get it today if you go to the Ben. Just put in Ben Fulford. I'm not by my computer. I'm sorry. But just put in Ben Fulford and you can go to his site and you can read half the report. But it's happening really, really fast. First off and foremost, this is my take on it. We're going to hear of all the bad and horrible things and who did it. More and more and more and more. Their structures and their institutions will disintegrate before our eyes, and we're going to all be in disbelief at, the dog and pony show that we've all been under. And then we're going to be given the truth of what really is the truth instead of what we've been taught about everything. And all this is happening. That's our mind. That's information. That's thoughts and beliefs. We're going to see where the thoughts and beliefs that we've, been subjected to, and our parents and their parents and their parents are false in many, many areas. And then we're going to be subjected to the truth. But concurrently with all this mental stuff going on and the emotions connected to it, which are going to be really amazing. I mean, we're going to be, how can I say this? We're going to be deluged with such grief, such shock, such outrage, such disbelief on the one hand, and yet such joy, such love, such rapture on the other, that these two seemingly opposite forces, the grief on the one hand and the rapture on the other, are going to push us into who we really are. And so tonight, in talking about sacred sexuality, I would like to talk about my understanding at this point, which, I'm like you guys. I've been just as brainwashed as anybody else. But I've also been blessed in other ways with a number of near-death experiences and other things that are kind of mystical. So I think maybe my take on it tonight will be somewhat helpful. But I'm going to describe sexuality from the point of view of what it's going to be like when all our wrong programming is revealed for exactly for what it is, and we're told the truth. The interesting thing about truth is that when you hear it, there's just something inside of you that says, yeah, that feels right. So, as I'm talking tonight, my interpretation, what parts are true, will feel right. And where I still have yet a lot to learn and to grow, you can sense it just from your own reaction. So with that said, here's the thing. Well, you start from the one, where there's only the one God, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, divine love. And this state of being, which is eternal, wanted to create, wanted to do something. So it created the multi-universes, the omni-universes, which, as far as I can tell, started off as one that became many. In other words, I think what happened was that it was like planting a seed. Say you had a mustard seed and you planted it. And it did sprout and it did grow and it did become this huge tree. And it had thousands of seeds, thousands of them. And many, many, many of them grew, and they had thousands of seeds. And many, many, many of them grew, and they had thousands of seeds. That's what I think happened. is that God created creation, and then it multiplied, and it's still multiplying. But it's all multiplying within the one. It is created by the one, it's sustained in the one. And when parts of the creation wear out, then within the one they are refreshed. And that refreshing phenomena is the proper interpretation of death. And just to demystify this whole thing, and I'm going to get to the sex, but I'm having to set the foundation. Okay, if indeed our physical vehicles, our body temples, are made in the image and likeness of God, then we can use our own physical bodies as a way of understanding these mysteries. They're really not. They're common sense. Okay. Say you eat food. It goes through the gnashing of teeth in your mouth. It goes down into the lake of fire, your stomach, with its hydrochloric acid. Then it goes down into the nether regions where probiotics, good intestinal flora, process it. And those nutrients which are good for you go through the intestinal walls into your bloodstream and feed you. And those things which you do not need go down into the lower intestine, and that's your next day's bowel movement. As above, so below. In God's creation, there are new impulses that are taking in, new energies, such as food. It's food for the creation. This energy is put through the gnashing of teeth and goes down into the lake of fire and goes through the good probiotics. And what is good and useful sustains the creation. And what is not is released. And that releasement is death. But, and here's where we're all one, where does it go? Not in this society where we've made huge, killed 40% of the species on the planet. But in a normal society, that bowel movement is recycled as manure and fertilizer for the gardens, for the plants. Now let's look at this again. Let's just look at breathing, okay? Breathing. You breathe in oxygen. It goes in your lungs. The oxygen is taken into your blood. And the depleted air that you just breathed in, the oxygen's been taken in your lungs, is breathed out, and it's full of carbon dioxide. But then what happens to it? Well, guess what? The plants need carbon dioxide. They take it in. And through photosynthesis and their own beautiful thing, they breathe out oxygen. That's why we have to have our rainforest and all the life in the oceans. In other words, what we call death is merely taking something that is not useful in its present form anymore and putting it where it is useful. In other words, in a healthy society, the manure, human or animal, or earthworm, or a rotting tree in the forest, is nutrients to the plants. And the plants are our food. In other words, our waste is the food to the plants, whether it's our breath or our manure. And their oxygen and their fruits are our food. It's an ecosystem. It's a cycle. And this is true whether you look at it physically or metaphysically. So getting back to sacred sex. Mayor, I'm going to get me a cup of hot tea. Would you please read Sacred Sex? Because tonight, Hygeia, which is the way we heal ourselves, is at the exact degree of sacred sex. And that will be mystical sex, 1 degree Libra. So if you would read 1 degree Libra, I'm going to take a quick break here.
And you said Hygeia. What is Hygeia again?
If you look at it in astrology, it looks like the caduceus of the medical insignia. Mm-hmm. It's how we heal. And tonight, Hygeia is at the place of mystical sex. It is exactly 1 degree Libra.
Okay. All right. I am just looking for it. Just give me a moment here. And as we are finding this, I just wanted to do a correction in the Ho'oponopono prayer. I left out a verse of it, and as Cynthia was talking about just all the realizations, we're going to realize that ways that we've harmed ourselves or harmed life, or, just as we're enlightened, we're going to see these things and we're going to forgive ourselves. But one of the tools is the Ho'oponopono prayer, the Hawaiian prayer, and it goes like this: Dear life or self or God or creation, I am so sorry for all the harm I have caused, or you could say we have caused. Please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. Okay, and now we're going to read where Hygeia is at 1 degree Libra. And these angels, Thirana, Thirana, the angels of mystical sex. Beloved, and we ask the angels, Thirana, to please be with us all. Beloved, Libra is the portal of the element of air or mind, radiating cosmic love. Air elements are experienced in the theta states of deep relaxation and ease. Libra is the constellation of divine love working through the air element of mind. In this 1st degree, the mind of each child of light on a spiritual path receives high inspiration, letter T, in all sexual matters, so that love expresses light and joy on all levels. In the original purity of all ideas in divine mind, the sex act is a most high and mystical means for alchemy and communion with another, divine consciousness and being itself. Spirit, mind, emotions, and senses must all be in alignment with love for the sexual act to manifest supreme happiness and enlightenment. The sexual act is mystical as it joins 2 singularities, 2 souls, into communion and unity with each other and the unified field of consciousness. Therefore, highest intuition is provided for this act to unfold according to the law of one, the highest good of all. Through the virtue of high inspiration, 2 children of light and love intuitively attune spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically to self and other, so that heaven and earth are brought together as one in the sexual act. The divine process of intercourse clears pathways in sensation, feeling, thought, and will in both partners for the clearest light to enter the top of the cranium and flow along the spine, activating each glandular plexus. This is done through mental and emotional sharing, one chakra at a time, starting from the top of the head, assuring that when orgasm is reached, sexual energy is not blocked in the lower chakras, but moves along the spine and activates all the glands, culminating in the pineal gland experiencing enlightenment. The will of providence is for the sex act to be experienced as a high and mystical means for communing with another and divinity itself. This brings about youthfulness and bliss. The human body temple is equipped with every gland and chemical necessary for this experience to take place. Energy follows attention. As the attention of each partner is intuitively filled with the virtues of self and each other, sexual energy travels up their spine, vitalizing all that lies along the way, reaching the top of the head in which the pineal gland resides, and bringing rapturous states of healing, bliss, and cosmic union. We help people understand how the ecstasy of sex may be short-circuited through the lack of understanding of the fourfold nature of reality. Any act, sexual or not, is composed of will, thought, emotion, and senses. When any of these levels is not choreographed to the highest good of all, results are often disappointing, certainly frustrating, and at times devastating. In contrast, when choreographed systemically, all levels are supremely fulfilling and happy. As the act of sex is used to achieve high states of consciousness, optimal protocol begins with the right use of sacred foreplay to bring the lovers into synchronized shared attunement at all levels through skills of sharing and communication, both within self and then with the partner. Ideally, communication is safe, clear, and honest, so shared images and feelings that are deep, personal, and sacred from all 7 chakras are energized. Suffice it to say that time must be spent communicating in trust and innocence together so that concord is reached in the deepest parts of the soul of both partners. This may mean taking time to help each other heal emotional wounds. One way of facilitating transformation to this end is restraining sexual passion until, after all hurt feelings are allowed to flow safely to resolution, thereby releasing negative charge on all 4 levels. A successful process of communicating shared values on all levels removes energy blocks to the natural rising of sexual energy. When this is done, passion rises naturally and spontaneously, builds to become a most effective method of emotional foreplay. Powerful feelings of oneness, trust, and love are roused when partners develop emotional compatibility, underpinning the sexual experience with a ground of shared reality to support the emerging ecstasy. Through effective sharing, lovers carve out a space of oneness and agreement in will, thought, and emotion before engaging in first subtle touching and then more intense touching. The final step, intercourse, occurs instinctively through the wisdom of intuition, or it can also be initiated according to techniques of breathing and touching, which were written down by the ancients and inspired from universal consciousness. Powerful, passionate feelings are generated when physical sharing is preceded by emotional sharing. Delaying actual sex so it is a truly mystical act of making love, which attracts to earth the highest souls and expressions of heaven to bless all life. When a child is thus created, this child is endowed with great perfection. Emotions of mother and father at conception are imprinted on a fertilized egg, which divides billions of times in the womb. Therefore, each cell is imprinted with a memory of these feelings, creating a pattern for the rest of the incarnation. The child whose parents are in sexual and spiritual bliss at conception is highly enlightened and happy. Many people have cellular memories from their parents at conception that need to be healed. This is done by going deep into meditation, remembering these memories, and letting them flow to healing with unconditional love. Then, by visualizing the light and love of divinity, healing the emotions of parents and also the ancestors, each cell takes on a perfected new template of vibration. Also, as a man and woman decree that their forthcoming child is to be filled with the highest virtues, and imagine this with unwavering focused concentration and feeling emotionally the truth of this before and during the sex act, they ensure that out of the thousands released, the sperm and egg representing those qualities are the ones to successfully make it to conception. While the child is developing within the womb through the qualities of Tharana, both parents maintain sacred connections with divinity within and also with each other. We help them focus on their shared will, image, feelings, and sensations of perfection for the developing child. When mystical sex is destined only for spiritual, emotional, and physical communion and ecstasy, we guide people to various teachings on how to avoid conception. This has been done in many ways, such as through following the rhythms of life, climaxing without ejaculation, and communicating to sperm and egg that the time is not ordained for conception to take place. Through the virtues of the letters of our name, Tharana, we give instructions and methods on how to impregnate the seed so that divine qualities pass into the child. We are the heavenly hosts who oversee the sexual sphere of humankind. Propagation of humankind falls under our competence. We provide full knowledge about the prenatal education of a child, how to endow certain talents and hereditary factors while the child is growing in the womb. Tharana, the angels of mystical sex.
Now that was a mouthful. How about a 9-month course in, 5-10 minutes? Fortunately, there's lots of books, lots of research behind everything that was written there. Of course, it's all compartmentalized. Only the experts know it. But I think what's going to happen with the coming times very quickly is that media will be used to speak the truth instead of the propaganda. I had a really painful experience last night. And Candy, my heart goes out to you. And by the way, girl, what you did in both places, I acknowledge you for a historical act. I mean, people think about Paul Revere or George Washington. What you did, girlfriend, woo, my God. Listen, if you were to go into detail about the pain you felt and the attack you felt, if you were to go back and relive it and slow it down and focus, I mean, I want to say you are a hero. And I'm giving you my purple stars or whatever kind of acknowledgement I can give you for what you've done. My goodness gracious, to go where you've gone at this time. Yeah, you came under attack. Yeah, like, like, hello. Woo! And you got through it, and you handled it the way you did. Oh, my goodness, I am in awe. But anyway, I mean, I'm breathless just thinking about what you told us earlier. I can hardly even go on. Mir,
I want to join you.
Yeah, please. I am blown away right now just thinking about what she told us.
In awe, Candy. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone and everything. Thank you. And we just thank all the heroic acts, that people are doing. And you know what? Even anything you do, that taking a breath, walking on the bare earth, sitting up against a tree. It's amazing how when Cynthia was talking about the exchange that we do with plants and trees and how perfect it is and how they give us so much. And the other day I was not feeling well, and I was able to, walk outside and go down in a wooded area, and I just sat up with my back against a tree and just put my arms around the side of it and really just asked the tree to please heal me. And I really felt the tree absorbing a lot of the negativity I was feeling and just taking it, happily transforming it. And I just gave thanks, and I just, I've learned that as we ask for ourselves and as we experience these blessings, to just ask that all others could also experience this however they can, because then for those that are maybe in situations where they can't get outside, everybody really needs all of these experiences. So I think as we go about our day, just to remember that and include everybody is huge. So that's what I wanted to add. Is there anyone else? We can open up the call for a chance for people to touch base for a moment. So you can *6 to unmute.
I have something to share. This is Pat.
Hi, Pat. Welcome.
I'm sorry I got on the call a little late, but I heard y'all were talking about Hygeia, and I thought I would give folks a little definition, history of her, and a visual if you want to kind of see I think in a manner that's very reminiscent of some of Cynthia's works that I've seen. But Hygeia was the daughter of the god of medicine, Asclepius, and a Greek god. And she played I'm reading off of Wikipedia, she played an important part in her father's cult. While her father was more directly associated with healing, Hygeia was associated with the prevention of sickness and the continuation of good health. In fact, her name is the source of the word hygiene. And let's see, the other thing for the visual, at the University of Vienna, the Klimt University of Vienna, Gustav Klimt was a famous, I guess, late 1800s, early 1900s painter, and he has a painting that's on the ceiling there in Vienna, and it is called Hygeia, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So I encourage people, while you're digesting the sharing about Hygeia, to look at that picture, because I got exposed to that like 40, 50 years ago, and it actually came to me in a vision while I was in a Silva Mind Control workshop up in Seattle, and I got a vision of my own if all the money I needed could do whatever I wanted to do kind of thing. I had a vision of a healing center that I had built, and right in the middle of the center, I saw a life-size, full-on replica of this painting by Gustav Klimt of Hygeia, and I didn't even know at the time that she was the goddess of healing. So it's absolutely beautiful, so I encourage people to look at that. That's it.
Thank you so much, Pat. That really helps a lot and just adds this wonderful dimension to our understanding of the angels Tarana, too, that are at where they're at Mystical Sex for Hygeia. So thank you so much.
If people go to this, what is it here? If you just put in Google Klimt, Klimt, plus University, plus of, plus Vienna, plus Sealing, that'll take you, there's like a whole sideshow here of all gorgeous goddess pictures, of which this is one. And they also, his most famous picture is called The Kiss.
I love him. Oh, he's wonderful.
Yeah. So, thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Cynthia, I didn't know if you were wanting to come back on, if we wanted to galactualize, or if anyone else wanted to share. Good star 6.
Before we galactivize, when I look at a chart, I'm looking at the transits tonight. Vulcan is stationing retrograde, and whenever a point stations, it is highlighted. It's like if you had an audience and there was a spotlight, and the spotlight focused on one person in the audience. That's what a station would be. So before we move on and galactivize, and I don't know if we're going to even get to the full moon that's coming up, but anyway, Pat, thank you so much for sharing that. That meant a lot to me, huge amounts. Every time you share, it means a lot to me. I really consider you one of my teachers. But anyway, Vulcan is, in mythology, is like a blacksmith who made the magical weapons of the gods. And we are gods. There's a quote in the Bible that says, "Know ye not that ye are gods? Know ye not that ye are gods? Know ye not that ye are gods?" And Christ said, "All that I do, ye shall do and more." And he said the second coming will be when everybody realizes they're gods. And so our weapons right now, the weapons change, but right now, tonight, and this will be emphasized for some time, is 14 degrees Cancer. So, Mayor, since Marianne is not here tonight, or if somebody else has the book, would you read 14 Cancer? Because this is our weapon right now.
Wow. 14 degrees Cancer. Here we go.
And before we galactivize, I'm going to add just a little bit more about the sacred sex, because it's going to take us a while to cover sacred sex, because it's huge, because it's all 7 chakras. It's everything we are. But anyway.
And we wanted to share that wonderful story of the actor.
Oh, my
That's
God,
really
yes.
important
tonight.
We've
Goodness, thank you for reminding me.
It's about a famous person that pertains to all of us.
Okay,
so really
read this one,
okay.
And then I'll do a little bit more of the sex thing, then we'll do the thing, and then we can galactivize.
Okay, perfect. All right. This is our weapon, Vulcan. 14 degrees Cancer. Kamalo, Camalo, the angels of invisibility. Kamalo, please be with us. Beloved, we are well informed on the remotest secrets of magical science and show means, ways, and methods by which to be invisible. It is with Kamalo's aid that a child of God becomes invisible. In other words, that he or she can take self into all spheres, mentally, emotionally, and if necessarily, also physically, without being recognized there. The human body, and in fact all matter, is capable of manifesting instantaneous changes, often perceived as miracles. Accounts of this are recorded throughout history. These changes are caused by clear, intentional visualization while experiencing the oneness of all life and powerful, focused emotions. People become extremely sensitive to the realm of feelings as they become proficient in co-creating the physical world and maintaining heaven on earth. The world of feelings is the arena of change. As feelings flow, they create magnetism, attracting new realities into form. Chemical changes in the physical body caused by thoughts and feelings are well documented in science. As children of light and love flow with sacred emotional states, they attract great perfection, and beautiful changes occur in physicality, both in their physical bodies and in the outer world. When invisibility becomes necessary to maintain privacy and personal concentration, we help with necessary sacred visualizations and feelings for this to occur. Whenever a person feels through inner guidance from Providence that invisibility is required for the highest good of all in any situation, his or her causal, astral, and or physical bodies are imbued with divine qualities. Invisibility can apply to the mental, emotional, or physical level, or all three. Strong faith and intent to be invisible sets into motion required changes in the electromagnetic field of the mind, feelings, and form. This important skill is easy once a person learns how to remain focused on his or her own sacred reality to the exclusion of all else. Focus on intent to be invisible. Focus on the virtue of infusing your body with divine qualities on all levels, maintaining emotional connection with cosmic omnipotence, and seeing all through the eyes of love. Visualization and flowing emotions attract this reality into manifestation. If a person intends to be invisible only on mental and emotional levels, then their thoughts and feelings become invisible to others. If he or she is doing mental or astral wandering, then on those levels they remain invisible. If a person intends to be invisible mentally, emotionally, and physically, and even their body is not noticed by others. Perfect concentration and will and command of feelings make for perfect invisibility. Remember that emotions are magnetic and attract changes in matter, even to the point of levitation or invisibility of self or objects. When emotions are clear and pure enough, it is possible to attract all miracles, including physical invisibility. By merging with focused emotions of privacy and invisibility, the physical body can actually reside in an alone state and be invisible to others. The human body is capable of levitation in this manner also. In this case, emotions of the original purity of all ideas in universal mind, sensations of lightness and floating, pure and focused without subconscious feelings of fear, doubt, or sensations of weightiness, cause matter in a body to exhibit lightness. Great command over focus and emotional flow is required to maintain a desired manifestation. I'm going to say that again. Great command over focus and emotional flow is required to maintain a desired manifestation. Do not become distracted. As you can see, people must be virtuous of feelings to be rulers of all worlds, especially the physical world, and maintain heaven on earth. Feelings of omnipotent will and faith arise from identification with divine being and oneness with all creation. The experience of being one with Godhood and with all creation awakens heartfelt desire for the highest good of all. This desire and faith making possible all things. With this faith and desire, the heavenly hosts of all beings act as one in bringing about miracles. As a person utilizes loving feelings of courage and faith in the fire of will through the power of the word, electrical impulses of pure light and fire light up the web of life. As you meditate on the letters of our name, we teach how to spiritualize emotions and matter in order to prolong life and to become invisible. Kamalo, the angels of invisibility, CAMALO.
So here's the deal, folks. In the coming days and weeks, whether it's you or whether it's our beloved brothers and sisters doing amazing heroic acts like Candy did, thank God, when you just need to be there at a place, whether you're physically there like she was, or whether you wander there in spirit, and you just need to do your work. You don't need to be under attack. She came under attack. Had she been invisible, she could have done her work without being under attack. My take on it is that it was, and I hate to say this, and I could be wrong, but it was probably a good thing she came under attack, because it got her to pray really hard and pull in the forces to do some major work. And probably what she did at the Senate and probably what she did at the World Trade Center is historic. Whether it's ever known or not, whether she ever gets acknowledged for it beyond tonight or not, I don't know. She may need to remain invisible so she doesn't get hounded, and she can be private, and she can just live her life without a lot of publicity. But Candy, I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Cynthia.
I am just blown away. And you too, Pat. You blow me away every time. But anyway, back to the sexual thing. It's going to probably be an ongoing talk about this. But everything we've been taught about sex, pretty much through the media and through our parents, has not been pure, and it has not been clear, because we've been under this attack. I'm hearing 1,300 years. I think it's been a lot longer than that, but we'll see when all the news comes out. Our parents have been traumatized. We are traumatized. Their parents were traumatized. Their parents were traumatized. Their parents were traumatized. And this traumatizes the babies and the growing children. And when you're traumatized, you become multiple personalities. If you study multiple personality disorder and dissociative identity disorders, it occurs through trauma. And if you, when all this garbage comes out about all the horrible things, one of the recurring themes is the horrible traumas that the mothers and the fathers go through, both in preconception, conception, during gestation, birth, and afterwards. It's just trauma, 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 trauma. And for an entity to survive all that, they have to recreate themselves consistently to deal with each new trauma. And that's how you get multiple personalities. It's how you get different identities. That's way oversimplified, but that's the basic formula. And we've all been traumatized. We all have different selves. We have our wounded selves that feel like we're needy. We have our victim selves. We have the selves that feel entitled. We have the selves that feel very righteous. Oh, my goodness. We probably have easily 16 or 20 selves, if not more, or identities. And some of them know about each other and some of them don't. And some of them agree with each other and some of them don't. So there's this war and this battle within ourselves where we hardly know who we are anymore. There'll be a part of us that wants one thing and another part that wants another. There's a part of us that wants our soulmate to have beautiful, wonderful sex. There's another part of us that just wants to go live alone and not be bothered. We've given up. It's all these different selves. And these different selves can be integrated fairly easily according to a exercise that I put up on my Facebook page. If you'll email me, I can send it. It was created by a psychologist. I was married to him for 25 years. But it's an exercise you can do in one sitting where you can ferret out your different personalities and they can share with each other. And it's fun to do. And you can do it by yourself or you can have someone help you. It's just a form. And so if you want that form, just email me at spiritus@mindspring.com and just say in the subject line, send multiple personality integration healing form, or send multiple personality info. And I'll be glad to. And I'm going to get Elizabeth put up on the web, and she may have already on the blog spot. But that's very, very important. But just to end it on a tantalizing note before we galactivize and share, everything we've been taught is wrong, both in the media and from our parents. And here's the way it works. In utero, all of us begin as females, and then we differentiate into male and female, or hermaphrodite, which is both. And our souls and our spirits determine whether we're going to be a male or female in this or that incarnation. And there's a darn good reason for it, whatever it is. If our spirits and souls say, okay, well, this time it's really important that we be male, or this time it's really important that we be female, or maybe they might decide to be a hermaphrodite, which is someone who's born with the sexual organs of both. Whatever it is that our spirits and souls determine is important for this incarnation. Now, in previous incarnations, we could have been a different gender. But in this incarnation, that decision is made in utero, and it's important that we operate according to that original decision. And if you're in a male body, it's very important that you have your foreskin. It's very important that you have your beard and your hair long. And if you're in a female body, it's important that you keep your spine straight, that you have your heels on the ground, that you, when you wear the high heels, it readjusts your spine so that there's pressure on internal organs that's not normal. Just everything they've done to confuse us and to get us all out of whack, they've done it through the media, through promoting certain stereotypes, through the movies, whatever. But anyway, supposing, and by the way, if your foreskin's been removed, I am asking the spirit doctors to replace it. And if your hair is cut short, I am asking that it grow back quickly, because believe me, the research is out there. A lot of it's been hidden, but every part of our, I'm asking for my tonsils to be grown back. And if you've had metal implants, I'm asking for those to be dematerialized and healthy organs and parts be replaced. And I've seen this happen. I've had my own body having a lot of that happen. I know it's possible, all these miracles of materialization and dematerialization. But our bodies are perfect. And back in the 90s, we were reading all the research. They were trying to find the explanation for aging and dying. And what they found instead was that there's no explanation for aging and dying. There's only explanations for youth and immortality. And so when we get our desire to live back, I mean, right now, there's so many people so miserable, they don't even want to be around here. They want to keep their dignity. They want to do the best they can for their children and their communities. But, you know, they're not fulfilled. They're not happy. And death is a great friend. It's a relief. But then they come back again and again and again, because when they get to the other side, they can see that we are all one. It's not earth and heaven. That's the duality. What they see is the basis is the unity, and that earth and heaven are one. And that was the Lord's prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So all these people who are wanting to go to these higher dimensions, that's wonderful. I don't blame them. We are one with these higher dimensions, but if they want to leave this one to go there, they're still in the duality. And the cutting of hair, which you see with a lot of monks and nuns, we can go into that another time. But it's perfectly understandable, and I know why they do it. But ultimately, to unite heaven and earth, we need to do it within our own selves. And to do it within our own selves, we have to get beyond polarity of we're here on earth and we need to go to heaven, which is somewhere else. It's a higher, that's the two. We need to go from the two to the one. And when we go from the two to the one, we can understand how there can be hummingbirds and flowers, how there can be the beautiful starry nights and the ecstasy of being on a sailboat on the ocean with the wind in your sails. We can see that the physical, the emotional, the mental, and spiritual are different aspects of one being, and that you don't leave one and go to the other. You unite them all in harmony. And the sexual act, here's how it goes. If you're in a male body, and that's not to say you haven't been female before, or you won't be female again, or if you go into youth and immortality, you'll stay in the male body. But if you're in a male body, your first and third and fifth and seventh chakras are electric. What that means is on those chakras, you give. You don't receive, you give. And if you're in a female body and you go into youth and immortality, it means that your first, your third, your fifth, and seventh receive. Giving and receiving. That having been said, if you're in a male body, your second, your fourth, and your fifth chakras receive. Those are your divine feminine, your anima. If you study Carl Jung, the inner female. And if you're in a female body, your second, your fourth, and your sixth are electric. They're male. They give. Okay, I hope y'all are imagining this. So when you have intercourse, the man on the physical plane, the first chakra, gives to the woman. She receives. If you've done what we just read in that reading of mystical sex, she receives, and it goes into her second chakra, which is male, and she gives back to the man who receives. And the second chakra is relationship. He gives to her physically, she receives it, whether it's the sperm, whether it's the penis, whether it's physical security, food on the table, a home, safety, security, whatever. On the physical plane, he gives to her, she receives it. And say they like each other and they're compatible. She receives that, and then on the second chakra, she's masculine and he's feminine. He receives that. And the second chakra's relationship, she receives what he's given on the physical, whether it's the sperm, whatever, and in return, she relates to him. He's no longer alone. He's being related to by another being. And he receives that. And we're assuming it's all compatible now, according to what we read before. Okay, so he receives that. That's his divine feminine. Goes up to the third chakra. He's male again. That's the emotional chakra. So emotionally, he gives to the woman. She doesn't give to him. See, that's how we've been turned around. We've been taught, no, you give to the man emotionally. No, you don't. Not if you're a woman. The man gives to the woman emotionally. He does everything in his power, to make her feel good, to be happy. Sings her songs, writes her poetry. If she loves to ride horses across the meadow, he provides the horses in the meadow to make her feel good emotionally. Okay, so she receives that, because on that level she's feminine. It goes up to the fourth chakra, which is the heart, which is 5,000 times stronger than any of the other chakras. It's the first thing to develop in utero. But on that level, the woman is masculine. She gives. And guess what? He's pleased her physically. She's received it. She gives him a relationship. He's pleased her emotionally. She's received it. And guess what? On the heart chakra, where she's the man, she loves him a lot. Boy, does she love him. Woo! And study heart chakra. Go to heartmath.com. It's a tube torus field that goes out 10 feet. And she just blasts that dude with that. And on that level, he's a feminine. He receives that love. And it goes up to the fifth chakra. And at the fifth chakra, that's your creative chakra. He's male, she's female. He creates new realities consistently. Every morning he wakes up and he thinks, wow, I'm going to create this, or I'm going to create that. I'm going to create poems, music, or a new stall for a horse, or I'm going to create, a happier community, or I'm going to create whatever. He creates like crazy, and she receives his creation. and is blessed by it because he has put her first. She's his mate. He creates for her first. And it blesses the children and the community and the world. But then it goes up to the 6th chakra, where she's male and he's female. And the 6th chakra is the third eye, which is wisdom. And this woman sees that man. She knows from his physical gifts, from his emotional gifts, from his creative gifts, him as God. She is in awe of him as God in form. And he receives that. It's like looking in a mirror. He can see from the ecstasy in his woman. Oh my God, I guess I am God. Woo! I can see myself in a mirror. And then it goes up to the 7th chakra where he's male again and she's female. And the 7th chakra is our connection to the all that is. It's our faith, it's our will, it's our intent. And with his faith and his will and his intent, he gives to her. And she receives it. And what you have created is what's called a scalar wave, which is the caduceus of Hygeia. It's the caduceus of the medical profession. And this is what they try to prevent us to do because it's all powerful. It's powered by her tube torus of the heart. So everything he's providing physically, emotionally, creatively, and spiritually is powered by her heart. It's mystical sex, folks. It's alchemy. So I'm going to leave it there. I hate to leave it. It's such an important thing to know, but we haven't even touched the full moon coming.
Yeah. You know, we really have talked about a lot tonight. We really have.
Yeah.
It might be nice to share the beautiful story that pertains to everybody and the famous person. We could do that.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Would that be good?
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Okay, now this is a true story.
And then we could maybe wind up just in a visualization. And
if the Galactics want to have something to say, I'll tap in on that too.
Okay, that would be beautiful.
Okay. I just learned about this. It was from a YouTube, or maybe it was an email, but it was a surprise to me. But this is a story, and it's a true story. I think it was Sir Laurence Olivier that it was about, if I remember the story correctly. I'm not at my computer. But anyway, there was an actor, a male actor who played Hamlet. And he played Hamlet so good that everybody in the audience was in awe. And in the audience were people who had seen Hamlet played over and over again. Even the Actors Guilds and people in the business of acting were in awe. Everybody was on the edge of their seat. There were people in tears. They were holding their breath. It was the greatest performance of a Hamlet that had ever been performed. No one could believe it. I mean, there were teachers of acting at these famous acting schools like Juilliard who had witnessed Hamlet so many times and had played it so many times. It was like ho-hum, boring, sigh. But even they had never seen Hamlet played like this. And it was like they had seen it, they were seeing it for the first time. And after this particular performance of Hamlet, everybody was crying. They were in tears. The media was just coming up to them, up to the sky, and saying, my God, no one's ever played Hamlet like this. But Sir Laurence Olivier couldn't speak to the reporters. He couldn't speak to his fellow actors. actors. He couldn't speak to the media. He couldn't speak to anyone. Why? Why couldn't he speak? Because he was bawling. He was crying his eyes out. He was in racking sobs. He couldn't even speak after the performance. And finally, when he could finally talk, they said, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" And guess what he said? Mayor, tell him. Tell him what he said. Unmute.
I'm sorry you're asking me to. He said, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. And sobbed and looked at everyone and said, I don't know how I did it.
And that's the story of our lives right now. I think if the truth were known, and this is just my opinion, what Candy did in the Senate, what she did at the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, if the truth were known, what actually occurred there, she might say, I don't know how I did it. Candy,
well,
speak up.
Thank you, Cynthia. And I've done these kinds of things for decades, but it's more special, when you include the law of one formally and draw upon, the bird tribe specifically to ask for help. The raw.
Thank you for what you did.
Oh, thank you for your appreciation. It's just, I'm just looking for great things to happen. The Democrats and the Republicans are supposed to have their conventions, and they're supposed to be announcing presidential candidate things, and yet there might be some things that will really turn things on their head, and I hope that I gave some power to that and gave Speaker of the House Paul Ryan and General Dunford a clearing, a path, a way to have disclosure and to have the truth and the healing to come out globally.
I acknowledge you, Candy, as a great being.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to do like Anastasia, you say, Cynthia. Visualize the details in the beautiful future.
Well, I am just blown away by your story, and I'm in tears over what you've shared with us tonight. Let me see if the Galactics want to come in with anything. Hold on. Okay, when I asked if there was anything that they wanted to say, what they're showing me is this amazing light that is infinitely powerful, but it's also infinitely peaceful and infinitely love. And I'm seeing beings. I'm seeing these beings, and they're sitting in a perfect lotus with their hands in a mudra, and their eyes are closed, and their energy is focused at their third eye, where they're visualizing the highest good of all. And I see this amazing connection through their crown chakra. And they're saying, yes, that is correct. And as I said that, they opened their eyes and looked at me, and this beam of light came through their third eye. And let's see, it's going it's going into me, but it seems to be going. What they're showing me is it's hard to describe. It's a many-faceted sphere. It's not perfectly round. It's like one of these disco balls, like you see that make the light shine everywhere. One of these disco balls. It's just like that, except that it's clear. And they're altering reality is what they're saying. And they are saying that we have overcome the lesser law of non-interference of free will through the law of one. We've overcome that so that they can interfere. And they're interfering because they are one with us and we are one with them. And when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is blessed, all are blessed. And then when I say that, they close their eyes and they're smiling and they're back in their third eye again. And they're showing me just these beautiful currents of lights of various colors. And I can't hear it, but they're telling me that these lights are also audible as the most beautiful music. And they're saying that the music will awaken the divinity within the spinal cords of all created beings, especially the sons and daughters of God, and that then the lights will shine. And they're saying that's all they want to say tonight.
Well, that is just beautiful.
We thank them. Yes, thank them. We thank you so much. This is beautiful. Thank you.
I would like to add that I got a text message from Chris tonight.
Wow.
And he's doing fine. I looked around at all of these beings at the World Trade Center today, all the languages and cultures, and I looked to see if there were some star brothers and sisters there, straight off the spaceship. And there were two beings that seemed out of place. One, it acted like they just jumped into this body and they didn't know how to make it move. So I wondered about that one, and then there was a very tall, very slim man with long hair covering his ears, and so I sent a picture of him to Chris, and I asked him if he might be Syrian, and Chris texted me back that he was very high vibe and at least Pleiadian. So that was interesting to me, and that was a little bit of a feedback from the Galactic saying that I did stumble across a Pleiadian today. I just thought I'd share that.
That is amazing. Gosh. Wow. This is just amazing.
Keep your eyes open, folks. Look around. Mm-hmm. Our friends are here.
Oh. Thank you so much for sharing about these wonderful events. Oh, well, maybe, Cynthia, do we want to close with us doing a visualization again?
Absolutely. The Galactic see us as a body of spokespeople for the planet, and they take us extremely respectfully and politely, and it means a lot to them that we do this. Remember that the brain, whether it's our brains or anyone else's brains, speaks in visual images. In other words, words can be Spanish, English, Dutch, Swahili, Pleiadian, this, that, or the other. But a visual image of a planet, or a visual image of a horse, or a visual image of a person, or a visual image of anything is understood by everybody regardless of language. And the brain itself works with visual images. So tonight, let us again vote for what we want. Once again, we know that there's going to be a lot of disclosure. We know that people are going to go through a lot of emotions. Many people have many different plans, whether they're on the side of the light or the dark. But what we're asking for is the highest good of all. And so tonight we're calling in our brothers and sisters of other planetary spheres. We're calling in our brothers and sisters of higher dimensions and lower dimensions, of any dimensions, because we're all one. Known or unknown, seen or unseen. We're calling in the whole creation, and we're asking everyone to focus on the law of one, on the highest good of all, for themselves and for the collective, and visualize their own way of visualizing, their own highest good, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and the highest good of the collective, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So we're going to do the law of one very, very slowly. And I'm just going to start now. And when I say we're all one, visualize that we're all one. And I'm asking this of the Galactics and everyone. When I say when one is harmed, all are harmed, I get a visual image of how that works. That even if the least little creature is harmed, how it affects the oneness. And when one is helped, all are helped. Visualize that, how wherever the help happens, whether you do it to yourself or to another, whether a higher being doing it to us, that when one is helped, all are helped. Visualize that. And then visualize, therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, visualize that. I ask that the highest good of all happen, and visualize that. And I give thanks that this is done, so be it, and visualize that. So let's do it now. Take 3 perfect breaths where you breathe in to the count of 10, you hold to the count of 10, you breathe out to the count of 10, and hold to the count of 10 3 times. Starting now. We are all one. For the next 90 seconds, visualize we are all one, starting now. When one is harmed, all are harmed. And get a visual image of that. Remember, Christ said, what you do unto the least of these, you do it unto me. For the next 90 seconds, starting now. When one is helped, all are helped. Again, what you do unto the least of these, you do it unto me. For the next 90 seconds, visualize. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, for the next 90 seconds, visualize. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is. I ask that the highest good of all happen. Visualize for the next 90 seconds the highest good of all happening. And I give thanks that this is done. So be it, and so it is. For the next 90 seconds, visualize giving thanks that this is done. So be it, and so it is. Starting now. So be it, and so it is. Mirror, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. I just want to wish everyone a beautiful night, and we're so grateful. We are all coming. It's like we're coming through the birth canal. So trust, have faith, love, ask to see through the eyes of love, pray for faith for everyone, and we're going to sail on through this together. So with that, we wish you the highest good of all. Good night, everybody.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.